Welcome, travelers, to another episode of the Time Travel Trio podcast. I'm Jen.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Hyde.
And we're
the Time Travel Trio.
Woo! Welcome, travelers.
Time to get jacked.
Time to get jacked. I wish that was the tagline of
that was Freejack. Like, time to get jacked.
What is the tagline of this? Oh my god, wait, this is even better. So, the movie that I chose is Freejack from 1992. The tagline says, Alex Furlong died today. 18 years later from now, he'll be running for his life.
Oh.
It is terrible.
Good old 90s movies.
1992, this movie came out. Stars Emilio Estevez, Mick Jagger, and Rene Russo, and Anthony Hopkins.
Can't forget him.
Y'all,
and Jonathan Banks.
Jonathan Banks.
Yeah.
Jeez.
This movie, though, if you've never heard of it or never seen it, first of all, go see it because it's a good, bad movie. And don't blame me for wasting 2 hours of your life.
No,
and
it won't be wasted. It will be enriched.
And then come back, listen to this episode. But for those who need a reminder, the synopsis says, bounty hunters from the future transport a doomed race car driver to New York City in 2009, where his mind will be replaced with that of a dead billionaire. I love 90s movies or older movies that are about the future,
right.
And the future in the movie is already our past.
Yeah.
Yes.
2009.
It's almost 10 years ago. That's crazy.
I know, it's
directed
great.
by
This
Jeff Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
Written by
a lot of people.
A lot of people. It was a book called Immortality, Inc. By Robert Sheckley. I've never heard of this book or read this book, but I guess that's where the idea came from. Yeah, there's a lot of people in this movie who are like, really?
Yeah.
You're in this movie?
It's like, this was clearly a movie, like, that book must have been really good.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people were like, yeah, we're making this into a movie, they must have been like, yeah.
It's also like 1992, like an interesting concept like this maybe, or from the book, I could see being appealing. So
Much more novel back then.
Yeah. Interesting sci-fi idea.
Yeah, this is we also must, like, I don't know, full disclosure, I guess. How did this get made? Is going to do this episode after we record it, so we haven't listened to it yet, but it's, like, perfect timing that we decided to do this now, and they did as well. Like, we had no idea until we, like, actually started watching the movie that they're doing next.
So we're really interested to hear their thoughts as well. I think that will be really fun.
Yeah, this, spoiler alert, time travel isn't that big of a deal in this movie.
Yeah.
So this will definitely be more of one of our How Did This Get Made type episodes where we just have, like, random notes that aren't time travel based.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
It's,
Yeah, this is the most notes I've had in most non-time travel notes I've had in a movie. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you think? You can start.
Yeah, I mean, the movie is ridiculous. I didn't really care for Emilio Estevez in an action role.
Yeah.
He didn't seem very intimidating. He wasn't bad in it. I was like, yeah, I'm not scared by this guy. He's, like, shorter than his girlfriend, and Mick Jagger is, like, his frenemy. That was also kind of weird, too. But, I mean, it was entertaining enough. Like, it definitely wasn't a waste. It wasn't a waste of my time.
Okay.
But I also didn't really like it, so I don't know.
Hyde, what did you think?
I mean, I've never seen this movie before until now. I never even heard of this movie until we picked it up for this.
Yeah.
I can see why I never heard of it. But there's a lot of big names in this movie. Like, Anthony Hopkins is in this movie. This is like Anthony Hopkins around the time of, like, Silence of the Lambs Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
But if you watch it, though, Anthony Hopkins was there for, like, maybe a day or two.
Yeah.
Tops.
Right.
Like,
in front of a green screen.
Yeah.
And he has one of the best
very
scenes
minimal.
of the movie. So maybe he just read that little part and he's like, oh, this seems like an interesting sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
This definitely reminds me of Sound of Thunder, for sure. In that it's like...
That kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's like bad, but like good
I felt
bad.
like it was trying to be Terminator really hard.
It's really trying to be something, that is for sure.
Yeah.
I will say, this is not the worst film we've watched on the Time
No,
Travel Trio.
I agree.
There's some entertainment value here, even as a
There
good,
is.
bad movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's just...
What is the worst movie we've done?
I mean, what is that movie? Sean Astin?
Oh, Slipstream?
Yeah, that's
might be the...
like, hands down the
That was
worst
pretty
made
bad.
movie.
That might
Like,
I definitely
across
think
the board.
that's your worst movie.
Slipstream is also very boring.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's boring. The production is, like, terrible. The acting's terrible. The script's terrible. Everything about it is terrible.
It's very
Yeah.
close. Sound of Thunder is bad, but it's a bad movie I would watch again.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
is it a bad
yeah.
movie?
I paid for Sound of Thunder to own it.
But like Project Almanac, though, is still at the top. That movie is still
It is.
pretty terrible.
Yeah.
That's not a movie I would want to watch again.
No, that's true. That is a movie I would have like Slipstream. I never want to watch again.
Yeah,
It was-
definitely top three are Project Almanac, Slipstream, and Donnie S. Darko.
Oh,
Oh,
S. Darko.
Oh God,
That is so bad.
I had packed that away into my brain
Yeah.
to like
Yeah,
forget
me too.
about it. This movie has some entertainment value. Like I
Yeah.
gotta give Mick Jagger some credit. He's trying very hard, and you could tell he was
Mhm.
trying very hard. But what an interesting role for Mick Jagger to take. Like
Yeah.
any other like rock star would have asked to be Emilio Estevez's character.
I agree, actually.
And he's like, no, I'm going to play this assassin hitman. I'm going to have a really big part in the movie, but I'm not going to be the star.
I also think if his character was the lead, it would have been a better movie. I just think,
Yeah,
I think
I
his
actually
character was
agree.
more interesting.
His
Yeah.
character was
Um,
way more interesting.
But he's
He's not pulling David Bowie, but he's
No, that's true.
He is the most interesting part of this film. I
Mhm.
feel.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I do feel that this movie was a waste of my time, but I didn't loathe it. There wasn't anything glaring, I guess, that made me feel like, ugh, I can't believe I'm watching this movie. I mean,
Yeah.
I do think it was too long,
Yeah.
but I think it should have been an hour and a half, not an hour 50. Because there were definitely, like, the action scenes and stuff was when I would, like, look away and look at my phone and stuff. Because they just dragged on a little bit too long.
Yeah.
Kind of like how I felt about some of the Terminator stuff. A lot
Mm.
of those action scenes are also very long.
Yeah, car action
Um,
scenes, I think you said before, Jen and I aren't a big
Yeah.
fan of. But, yeah,
They
I
usually
think...
just are too long. They drag on way past
Yeah.
how they need to.
But it also helped knowing that How Did This Get Made would be doing it, so I was also, like, paying more attention to it, I guess,
Mm.
you know? And I was trying to think of, like,
Okay.
I was like, okay, well, there won't be any time travel notes, so let me think of stuff that isn't time travel related, so in that
Yeah.
sense, I was, like, more
So-
engaged.
Since you brought it up, we'll watch the trailer in a second, but yeah, the time travel in this movie is very minimal. So we'll get into that, but let's watch the trailer first. I have a feeling it's going to be a good one.
Alex Furlong is about to die. And enter the year 2009, where immortality is only a heartbeat away, where money can buy anything,
Shouldn't you consider an alternative body?
I'm sorry to deceive you, including life itself.
Why me? Why don't they just grab somebody who's alive now?
Take a look at these people, Alex. They've lived half their lives with no ozone layer.
Tell me who's behind all this.
I'm sorry. I can't tell you that.
Alex, don't you remember me?
He died, Jewel. Someone paid to bring him back.
I watched you die.
Welcome to my mind. Don't resist. Lose your mind, and you can live forever. Freejack.
You guys.
That was a hardcore 90s trailer.
So-
It's like need a minute.
So
before
if
you,
you haven't
like,
seen the
get back to
movie,
this.
watch the trailer, you'll see the movie. There's so many, like, they just told you everything.
Yeah. Wow, what an experience that trailer was just now.
I'm kind of disappointed the movie trailer voice guy did not say the name of the actors each time they showed up. Like,
Yeah.
I really wanted him to be like Emilio Estevez, Mick Jagger, Rene Rousseau, and Anthony Hopkins. Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Okay, so time travel. Basically, you're right. The trailer says it all. But Emilio Estevez's character, what's his name? Alex.
Alex Furlong.
Furlong.
Which sounds like a porn star. Okay. He is a car racer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, race car driver.
there you go. And he dies, and so like the second he dies, they transport him to 2009. So I guess technically the idea is that it doesn't mess up the time stream.
Right.
Yeah.
Not like taking him too soon. It's kind of like, I think I mentioned this before, but it did, like, the concept itself does remind me a little bit of the
Doctor Who
Chris Rock,
episode?
no, the
Oh.
Chris Rock movie
Down to Earth.
Down to Earth, where it's kind of like someone dies and then they put him in someone else's body, but it's not like, it's a little bit, it's very different,
But I mean, there are a couple times in Doctor Who where this is part of the mechanic. It's like someone's gonna die, they take them out of their brain or out of the time. They like freeze time and then take them out of it.
like the second that they die.
Yeah.
hmm and so I guess it's a thing in the future. In this movie is 2009. So
Right.
in the future, if you're very wealthy, you can pay to basically steal someone's body after
Yeah.
they're quote unquote dead or
It's like-
about to die,
It's like
and you're-
it's like non-consensual mass organ donation.
and your mind is transplanted into that person. They call it the spiritual switchboard, which like okay.
Yeah, I know. The like every time I was like, wait, why are they doing that? Someone would explain why they're doing that, which I guess is a good thing. But like I was like, okay, well, why Furlong? And I was like, oh, okay, he's from the past where they're healthier, and he had a spectacular death where they know the exact moment in time that he died. And I was like, okay, but then like still, why him? And then like it's explained that Anthony Hopkins' character is in love with the girl that he was in love with, so it was like
Yeah, that
it was
to
like
me
more. Than
it
just that.
felt like one of those things that they tried to make like a big twist
Yeah.
that like he was in love with her, but it was kind of obvious when he was like, it has to be this specific face,
Yeah.
no one else. And I'm like, oh, okay, so he's just gonna pretend to be her because she used to be with him.
Yeah,
Like as a writer, it felt a little bit obvious, I think.
yeah, definitely.
But
Right.
and I also felt like it was a little. Maybe it's just because I'm used to seeing Anthony Hopkins like as an older character, like
Right.
just an older human being. So like to see him in love with this girl who looks like she's like 30, felt a little bit
Yeah, it's weird.
off to me.
I
but
mean,
that
what
could also
Anthony
be
Hopkins
because
would
I'm
be
used to
about-
him now.
Yeah, he's like probably in his late 40s, early 50s in this, so it's not like crazy. I mean, it's
Yeah.
still inappropriate, but it's
Yeah.
not like and creepy.
Yeah,
But it's not like to this point where it's like, oh my
but
gosh.
they also didn't age Renee Russo at all. She
Yeah,
looks the exact
that
same
was
as she did 18
terrible.
years ago.
Like
It's
at
true.
least try and pull like a Back to the Future. Like
Yeah.
at least do some effort.
At least
even
gray
if
her
it's
hair
made
a little bit.
Yeah, like
Like
she
eight-
looks like she aged like maybe a year or two.
Yeah,
not
like-
18 years.
and only because of her hair. Like if she was
Mm-hmm.
at least like 25 years old, she would be in her 40s, and she
Yeah.
looks like she's still 25 or maybe like early 30s.
Yeah. Also, I don't understand why he couldn't just like try and get with her as himself.
I mean, because he's, I don't know. I mean,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, like
Maybe he
or
doesn't
at
have a
least
lot
like,
of confidence.
but not really from what we've seen of him.
That's true.
He seems like he does.
I
Like
mean, like either way, he'll be her boss, so that
right.
he'll
So
have
I
to
don't
overcome
understand that. I mean, I think they should have addressed that. Like maybe he went for her and she wasn't into it,
Right.
or like show that scene or something.
Or maybe she's like, I
Of
can't
him-
love again.
Of him, I mean, it is 1992. It's not 2018. So like he could make a pass at her, and she could like reject him, and then that kind of like angered him, and maybe drove him like she's only ever loved this guy.
Yeah.
Right.
So I have to be this guy. That I think would be a little bit more of a logical train of thought versus
Mhm.
like just seeing the video of her screaming over him dying and then just like assuming everything. I mean, correctly, granted,
Yeah.
but
Could have just been a
still.
woman in the crowd who's like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. Someone
You
just
literally
died.
just saw someone explode. Like, I would scream too. That's a little bit traumatic. But
yeah.
I mean, he like literally runs into basically a bridge and
Yeah.
explodes. Like, that would be pretty rough to see anywhere.
yeah.
You'd be like, oh my gosh, that dude's dead. I wouldn't even know who the dude was. I'd be like, oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also like the way that she reacted to seeing him in the present day or the future, or whatever. It was like, no, get out of here. You're not him. So even if his plan did succeed and he had his body, she would still be like, no, you're not him. Get out of here.
Right,
Mhm.
that's true.
I don't want to talk to you. Like, you're not Alex.
Right, for sure. So, I don't know. It's weird that everyone knows what a Freejack is in this world.
Right.
Yeah,
that,
the city's
how
cheering on
common
him on.
it is, but it doesn't seem like it's super common.
It's
At the
not
same
common
time.
enough that like it's uncommon enough that like they are willing to like destroy the already semi-destroyed city to get this Freejack back.
Well, and also people are cheering for him. Like, what's his face? Boone. He's like, my grandma's cheering for you. Don't let her down. Like,
That's right.
like the
Oh,
guy's
yeah.
grandma like is like watching the news, seeing his updates.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, as long as she sees your face on those signs, that way she knows you're not dead. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I want to play the clip just to kind of look at, because as you said, there isn't a ton of time travel to talk about, but this is kind of after Alex is trying to figure out what a Freejack is, someone explains it to him.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Well, he meets a nun in the church when he's running away, and this is like he explains like I think I'm a Freejack, and then she explains
Played by
what it is.
Plumber.
Mm-hmm.
Some rich son of a bitch dies, they save his mind in a huge computer they call the spiritual switchboard. There is nothing spiritual about that. Sometimes I wonder if the good Lord has forsaken us all to be letting this kind of shit go on. Then they transfer his mind to your body. That's his ticket to immortality.
What do you mean, like a brain transplant?
No. A mind transplant. Electronically, your mind will be utterly annihilated.
They don't really ever explain how it works. It just kind of does.
Yeah, future technology.
Yep, it's
like,
vague.
Yeah, the way you see later on that it's like a crystal, and like like electricity is going in between like the image of Anthony Hopkins, the crystal, and then Emilio Estevez.
It's kind of like in Freaky Friday,
Yes.
except if there was like a crystal in between them.
Yep.
Is literally how it works.
Like there's so many. There's like the scene when they first enter is like the spiritual switchboard, and like it goes through some 2001 Space Odyssey meets like Tron wormhole thing.
Sure.
And then they end up in like his mind palace, which is Westworld, which is kind of creepy.
Yeah, I had some like towards the end. I was like, did this just turn into Westworld? What is going on right now?
It's a world that Anthony Hopkins created.
It
that
was
is
so
Westworld.
crazy. Like some of the lines he said too were like almost like taken like
From Westworld.
Yeah. It was
oh my
nuts.
gosh, you're so right.
Yeah, live forever.
I literally want
everything about this is just
It's
was
totally
social
Westworld.
engineering for us to get to have another Westworld chance.
Yeah.
Well, when did the Westworld movie come out?
70s,
yeah.
So I'm
maybe
just
they
saying.
were like
But-
Westworld one day.
I mean, one of my notes was literally Anthony Hopkins was behind it all, like he was in Westworld. Which spoiler for Westworld, by the way. But
Yeah, that was a huge. Oh my gosh!
Sorry,
you have to edit that out.
You don't have to edit that out. Come on. If you haven't watched Westworld, it's been out for a couple of years.
That's true.
It also wouldn't ruin knowing that.
It's not that big of a spoiler, honestly.
Like, you know he's up to something.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay.
He is behind. I mean, he did create. He is the owner of the company.
That's
he
true.
did create it. I didn't,
Okay. Yeah.
it's
Okay.
not a big spoiler.
I won't. Yeah.
And there's
I'll
still
allow
plenty
it.
of things to surprise you if that unfortunately ruined something. But there's still plenty of stuff that we didn't say.
Don't get attached to
Anyways.
To anybody. So, yeah, that was crazy. All the Westworld references.
Yeah.
Unintentional Westworld reference.
Unintentional, yeah. It was weird at the end. He was like, he tried to trick them, I guess.
Yes, stalled them.
He was stalling. He tried to trick them like, no, you know what, you won, whatever. And then I was like, wait, why is he doing this? Because he loves her? I don't understand. And then it was like a trick, and I was like, oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, I was like, wait, this doesn't make sense. Why? Okay, I guess that makes sense now.
So, when you become, not a Freejack, but when you become immortal through inhibiting a Freejack, I guess would be a way to say that. So, like, when that person reaches an age in that body that you don't like anymore, or is dying, or whatever, you can just, like, do it again?
Yeah, you can do another one, yeah.
So that's how it's
That's how you have
immortal?
immortality. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's not technical immortality. Like, someone can still kill you and you'd be dead.
Right.
Right.
But in theory, you could just keep going on and on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, your brain is still there, which essentially is you. So, on the time travel stuff, there is a little bit of info that we have on kind of how they do it. There's like, they get the space-time coordinates. They use that word in the movie.
Nice.
And we see when they're lining up the shot, for lack of a better word, they like have this picture of where he is. They do a 3D scan of his body because they like want only his body.
And it's such a 90s 3D scan, by the way.
It's like vector graphics, and then it turns into like some rough, like non-textured 3D model. And then there's like I guess the point at which they do it in the future doesn't really matter. They just kind of count down as if like, okay, now we're gonna flip the switch.
Yeah, it seems like as long as they have the exact time of whoever they're taking,
in the past,
it doesn't really matter. But it does seem like they need to be there
physically, right?
Physically,
yeah, and I guess they said that Anthony Hopkins' character McCandless, like he just died a few days ago, and it was like a rush job. So they probably like got the equipment, went to this place, and like, all right, let's do it now. And then they got the past coordinates, and then lasers, and then he teleported.
But why were they waiting?
Well, I mean, I think they just had a countdown to make sure everything was like operational.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, all right, everyone get ready. Like medics, get ready. Let's fire the lasers at this point. You know, like the countdown is more. It's kind of like an arbitrary like distinction, but they need some distinction.
Right, but he's not the first Freejack. It seems like a lot of people have
Yeah.
Freejacked. So,
but they need to get ready for it. Like they need to like it's technology, the personnel.
Yes.
Like you know, they probably need to like input the amount of energy needed to teleport him to the future. They probably need to build up to something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's not like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, where like...
Oh my god, I forgot we did that movie. That needs to be in the bottom.
Yeah, like
list
that.
also.
Like literally, like time apparently happens at the same time in the past as it happening in the future.
Right.
Like,
Well,
it's not that kind of thing going on.
Yeah, it's not that kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, once he got to the future, it was like deja vu, where like they need to like restart his heart because I guess because he didn't blow
It
up.
was like deja vu, yeah.
Yeah, but he was like he was in cardiac arrest, so they had to like jumpstart his heart.
Right.
Because I think
and then wrap him in saran wrap.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah. The goal was like have him be brain dead, but he wasn't for some reason. I don't know. They didn't really get into that, but
yeah.
Anyways, that's the extent of the time.
Someone
travel.
had the line like, "Could you imagine if we delivered him like this to whatever or something like when he was still alive?"
Yeah.
I was like, "What is going on in this movie?" Crazy.
I was still like stuck on the rental trap they were putting on top.
I know.
Like, what is this? This is your future technology? Literally a giant like plastic wrap, which doesn't even work on the best of circumstances.
I know.
I know, and he can also just like poke it and
Right,
get out
he's
of
like,
there.
oh no, how do I get out of this? Oh,
Rip.
rip,
Yeah.
step out. I'm like, oh, it's like what I use to like store like pound cake.
Sure. So the rules of this time travel, which we kind of talked about how it works. There's not. I don't really feel like we have too much foundation.
Yeah, there's no evidence of like causal effects with the timeline or whatever. It's just they plucked him from the
Yeah.
past and that's it.
And it just seems like people who have a lot of money are the ones who can afford to do it, so it must be expensive,
Yeah.
I guess.
I know it's pretty indicative how they feel about time travel because in the shot in the restaurant they shoot Einstein in the face.
Oh,
Like,
sorry.
yeah, his
Yeah.
poster. Like, there's a shot of them.
Oh.
Like, a bullet hit him in the face, and like hung on that for a few seconds. I was like, "Yep, they shot Einstein in the face."
They're like,
Fair
"F you,
enough.
Einstein, and your rules."
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't realize that. That's
Yeah.
funny. So, consequences of this?
I mean, he was gonna die.
Yeah.
He actually
So,
actually in a weird way was saved by this process.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, like most people do die from being Freejacked.
Right, but they were gonna
Seems like.
die
Oh,
already.
brain dead. Right, brain dead.
Yeah.
They were gonna, but it's weird because they were gonna die already.
Yeah.
Right.
it's
So
like-
doesn't that mess with the timeline if these people exist later, or is it because it's enough time has passed? But
No, it's
not
a skip. Like the timeline isn't altered.
no, I'm not saying it's altered, but I
Mm.
mean, like, wouldn't that cause some sort of a ripple effect
I don't think so. It's
by
like
them being there later when they shouldn't be?
no, it's like he. I don't know, didn't die and was just in like a hyperbolic chamber for 18 years, just resting or sleeping, you know, like
Mhm.
Austin Powers or whatever.
I guess. I do think it would be more effective, though, if they took someone, like, farther back from the past, where everyone they knew could be dead, to, like, ensure that things like this, that they wouldn't be recognized,
Like,
didn't
hey!
happen. You know?
I mean, yeah,
obviously,
obviously.
he had a plan to somehow woo her with this Amelia
Right.
Estevez's face. But yes, no, that does make sense. They make way more sense to get someone who's like in this. But then also, you'd probably want someone who had like a good body. Like certain people in like certain ancient times probably didn't have great bodies because they
I'm
were
not
just,
talking about ancient times, but, like, even farther back, like, the 60s, I
Yeah,
feel like
that's
would
true.
be
Like
more
yeah,
effective.
like when they had TV to know the exact like place and time. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. They did need to see it
But
visually.
yeah, but still, that still opens them up to like however many years you've had TV of people to Freejack.
Yeah,
Anyways, yeah. So
Okay.
that's pretty much all we know about the time travel.
yeah. So how scientifically accurate is it?
Lasers, and
Lasers.
teleporting. There's like no indication of any wormholes or anything like that. So it's
Right.
all just it's 90s sci-fi.
For sure, for sure. Okay. So it's really not super relevant to the story. It's very much like putting someone in a fish out of water type of time travel story, which we do see a lot.
I mean, honestly, you could have had someone in cryostasis. You could have had someone
Yeah.
who literally was knocked out. Heck, you could have had someone who was just a normal dude in a dystopian city who was just for some reason healthier than everyone else, and then they decided they wanted to kidnap him and take his brain.
Yeah.
But you could have literally done this entire story without time travel.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they had moments of like, it was 18 years for you, but it was 2 days for me. Those kinds of like things, which I guess help their characters in the relationship, but that's not that big of a deal.
It doesn't really affect them that much. Like, 18 years is a long time to think that someone died. Like, you are I feel like you should be way moved on at that point.
Yeah, also, especially if you look like Rene Russo, and especially if you look like Rene Russo who hasn't aged more than 5 years.
And it's like really important job in this company.
Right, fighting against Japan for something. I forgot what it was.
Mineral rights.
Mineral rights, that's right, minerals. Yeah, minerals, okay.
Yeah,
whatever.
It did seem, I don't know, it did seem like she should be married with kids or something.
Or at least have like a really fancy, smancy boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was that one guy that he was like, how do you know her? How long have you known her? And it was just the guy that was like, oh, I don't know, I met her a couple years ago, and we kind of stopped talking a few months ago because she got busy. And like, that's the extent of her.
It was very weird, yeah. I don't know.
I guess that was just to tell the audience that her vagina still works.
Sure. She has needs. They do have sex.
They do have sex.
In the future.
Future sex.
Future sex.
Future sex with the Freejack like font and title. Future sex. I'm surprised there's never been a movie called.
There might be.
Well, I mean, a movie released in theaters.
There you go.
well, Future Sex is a Justin Timberlake song, so.
Wait, this movie? That's true. This movie is rated R?
Yeah. Well, there's like a few seconds of boobs and like the F word a few times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And some of the violence. Well, I guess the violence is never.
It's just
not
squibs.
that bad. It definitely could be PG-13.
It could have definitely been a PG-13 film.
Yeah.
Or like at least go harder R if you're going to be R.
Yeah, I know. Like the sex scene was like they kiss and then it like fades.
It's fade. There's nothing. Yeah.
Although there was a '90s sax score, there was some throughout there was like some light sax as like the musical score of the movie.
In the sexy moments.
Well, also just regular walking around the alleyway moments.
Sure.
I was like, yep, there's some '90s sax.
Sex.
Yeah. Play it again. The sex sax.
Sure.
This summer, Amelia Estevez, Mick Jagger, Anthony Hopkins, sex sax.
The green screen was so bad in this movie.
It was
like ridiculous.
So bad. And like I try and give a little bit of leeway for some of these movies that are like early 90s or even before that use green screen.
Right.
Because it definitely wasn't perfected, but like when it's so blatant that like there's a shadow around you as a human that you're like not even the same
skin
lighting tone
like the green glow around your hair. Like there's a scene where they're going up the escalator to like go to meet Jonathan Banks' character where it was like just like an obvious green screen on and they're just like going up an escalator. Like, just put them behind something real.
Put them behind a matte painting.
Yeah.
They did in RoboCop. That's why RoboCop special effects still hold up today.
That's true. I want to talk about Jonathan Banks, who I believe everyone probably knows from Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Yeah. He was weird.
He still looks old, but he has more hair.
He looks old, but they were trying to pretend like he wasn't that old or something. It was very strange.
Did he have a rat tail? I thought I saw in the shot that he had like a little bit of hair that was like a little rat tail.
I don't know.
It was like a side shot when they were like in the Japanese meeting or something like that. It looked weird.
I don't know about that, but his character felt strange in his motivations to me. And that by the end, when he was...
Like, I control the company.
He wanted to just control the company, so he was going to let them like leave, and then he was going to kill them because he just wanted to be in control. It felt very messy. Like they had two different ways they wanted to take it and couldn't pick one, so they tried to like find a happy medium, but it doesn't really work.
Yeah, well, because like most of the movie, everyone's like, "Get him alive! We need him alive! Everything is done." And then like in the scene when he's, I can't forget when, like the pier or whatever, he was saying like, "Kill him, make him dead." And I was like, "Wait, why?" And then now it made sense later on. But I was like, "This is just weird."
It was confusing. Sometimes they wanted him dead. Sometimes they wanted him alive. But
either way, the plot called for it.
Right. Either way, they were always shooting at him. So I'm like, there's so many times where he, first of all, should have been killed, but there was a lot of like stormtrooper type shooting that went on.
Lasers,
that like 8 different guys were shooting at him, and he was like slowly running down a hallway by himself with nothing to block him, and they missed him every time. Like, really? He didn't even get injured? Come on.
He was trying to open a door with Boone, and he was like, wouldn't move, and they shot it like 5 times, and like hit the door, and like it basically like the shot stopped at him, but he didn't get hit by it. It was just like
Yeah.
It doesn't make I mean, one thing that new action movies have done very well is that you don't see a lot of stormtrooper shooting anymore
Mm-hmm.
because it just doesn't make sense. You're like, how did they not get shot?
Yeah.
Especially when there's machine guns or semi-automatics going on.
And when these people, their job is,
killing people.
Security people or whatever they are, that all they do is kill people or, defend things and whatever, and they're always shooting at things. So it doesn't make sense why they're so terrible. All of them are so terrible. Even I could, maybe hit him on accident at that point.
Emilio never got shot by anyone. He's he took some scrapes and stuff, but he never actually got shot by anyone.
I do want to talk about the fact that this movie came out the same year as Mighty Ducks.
Interesting.
Same year. That movie was also 1992.
Mighty Ducks saved his career.
Is 92 Jurassic Park or is that 93?
It's 93, I think, is Jurassic Park.
Okay.
But it's... I wonder if that affected anything on this movie. That they wouldn't want him maybe shooting-wise or things like that. Maybe they, as they're trying to clearly build his career this year in 1992.
His agent was like, all right, Emilio, I got a lot of scripts for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do them all.
Yeah.
From Freejack to Mighty Ducks, I guess. Trying to see where he fits, maybe?
I guess, yeah, whereas, it was probably what we figured out, I do a lot better in family-friendly affairs.
So, I don't know, I thought that was kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
So, Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was acting.
Was he?
Yeah. His character was pretty much one note. He didn't really have any emotions.
Yeah.
He was just gotta get that guy. Oh, here's that guy. Hey, guy. Okay, go away.
Right.
It was very off-putting, I think, would be the word
Yeah.
I'd use.
I mean, the fact that he wants to get him, but then kind of lets him run away because I guess he enjoys the game of chasing him.
Right.
It's an interesting bad guy thing, but in this movie, it doesn't make sense. Your whole motivation is to get the money, and you want to let him run away. And obviously, at the end, he gets the money, and now they're kind of friends because he's like, "Oh, I knew you were lying, but I like you anyway, so get out there and get him." Tiger.
Right. It would make a lot more sense if it was somehow at some point they revealed that he was a double agent. He actually was working for the resistance against this company. That would have been interesting because then it makes a lot of his stuff a little bit more motivated.
Yeah.
That also explains why I could never shoot you and stuff. I just let you live because I needed you to get me closer and closer to what was really going on.
Yeah, and at the end he still got paid. Right. Because Anthony Hopkins was like, all right, I got it now, you're paid, go off and do your own thing. Right. And then at the end he saved, well, I guess they saved each other pretty much, and then he got paid. So yeah, that would have made perfect sense.
Everyone wins. I will say this, like I said earlier, Mick Jagger's performance is not terrible. I've seen a lot worse pop stars foraying into acting. It's a weird part for him to play, but I kind of respect that he chose such a different part. This is not... If someone told me, oh, Mick Jagger's in a sci-fi action film, this is not the part I would think he was going to pick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would imagine him either being the hero or, Anthony Hopkins' character.
Yeah.
Not this kind of in-between guy who, he had to be... Mick Jagger had to be on set for most of this movie.
He was in a lot of this movie.
This was not, something he chose lightly.
He was in costume, he was in cars, he was in a tank, he was,
He was, you know how when you're in a limo and you, stick your head out the roof? That's how he was driving in the tank.
I know. Yeah. His friend, the guy that has, face scars, he has, eye patch sunglasses where one is, tinted, but he still has both eyes.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. What was with that?
It's just cool. It was just very future and quirky.
Yeah, but I thought maybe he was missing an eye, but no, he had both eyes. He just decided to have one be tinted and the other one not.
Sure.
But he had scars on, so I was like, okay, scars and you're covering the eye. And then it's just fine.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of I don't want to say lame, but when he first goes to the future, Emilio Estevez finds his agent, I guess, or his friend or whatever.
Greg or something.
His name is not Greg. Brad. Okay.
I know it's some 4-letter short name.
Okay.
Close.
And he betrays him. I don't want to say the word lame or the word
waste of time.
Yeah, waste of time maybe is
cliche.
Is a good cliche.
Yeah, cliche. Yeah.
It felt like it dragged longer than it needed to, if that's how he was going to do. It should have been okay, you betrayed him when he came to his apartment or something like that. Not after. like they went around and talked and had all these conversations,
Yeah,
and then he
and-
decided to betray him. It's like he shows up at his apartment and he like maybe stalls to keep him there, and then calls the cops,
Right.
and then he escapes from there. So that
Yeah, but also like in between the cop call and them attacking, there's like this big old thing with the guy in the restaurant, like
which was so unnecessary. It's like we already get the vibe of this world that is very dystopian. Everyone is just angry
food sucks,
and
everyone's angry.
hates each other and shoots each other and stuff. We don't need this conversation with this weird diner guy for no reason. It felt like that was the director's brother and he needed to have like a larger cameo in this movie or something.
It's funny, I know.
You know?
Well, yeah, and then he like drove through the restaurant again, like knocked over his food again. It was like, slapstick kind of stuff.
Yeah, and like the guy at the pier who's talking about the eagle story and
That's-
stuff.
He's the magical black man, except he was a crazy hobo version of that, where he like inspired him to like fight again, and he he was wiser beyond his like means, but he also knew who he was. So like
That was so
he was a
weird.
crazy homeless guy who knew who he was, and it was like, you go get him, Furlong.
When they wrote that scene, someone probably wrote that scene, finished it, and was like, that was deep.
Yeah,
I guarantee you they were like, this is deep. This is the core of the movie.
One of the 5 people who wrote this movie.
Yeah.
Which includes one of the producers of this movie. I don't know if he wrote the movie. One of the producers of this movie is the same guy who produced Alien and is largely credited with making sure that Alien was a good film. Ronald Shusett.
Okay.
But yeah, he also did Total Recall, which feels very much like this movie.
This feels very Total Recall.
It's very much like
Oh,
But a poor man's Total Recall.
Yeah, it's very much like that. There was a reference to Terminator where like Furlong was on TV and he was like drunk and he's like, I have a word for you, Mick Jagger. Fuck you, asshole. But he said it like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like, fuck you, asshole.
Right, that's true.
Yeah, so that's
oh my gosh,
a blatant Terminator reference.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I didn't catch that. Good call.
Yeah.
Would you guys want to experience this time travel?
Hell no.
No.
Sounds horrible.
This is a horrible future, horrible way to die.
And you only time travel if you're going to be brain jacked.
Yeah, no thank you. Pass all around.
Yeah.
Did we talk about closing sets enough? I know we talked kind of about the sets of this world, but
I do think the set design deserves some credit. Like the in the final building where they're like in the tunnel, it looked futuristic.
The
It looked,
James Bond eyes going around.
yeah. It was interesting for like a 1992 vision of the future, I guess.
okay.
But it's just dystopian.
I also like that the clothes aren't like that crazy. Like they're not like everyone's like suddenly dressed in like these like metallic skin tight clothes. Like they honestly, what the people are wearing is not too far from what people actually wore in 2009.
Yeah, I agree. That was nice.
Yeah, the future
It's
rave
refreshing.
was basically raves today, but raves today are kind of like raves in the 90s, so it's not that, I guess it was less day glow, but whatever, same thing.
Yeah, it's not that different. Any other notes you guys had? I know there's not a ton for us to kind of grab onto.
I thought it was interesting that Rene Russo and Anthony Hopkins were Thor's parents in She's Frigga.
Oh,
and so,
I
like,
forgot about that.
Yeah, and so like it's weird to see like that them being married together
That's so
in this
funny.
movie where they're like he's trying to get with her.
I didn't
I thought it
catch
was pretty
that.
funny. Yeah.
Oh, good call.
Yeah,
good
good catch. That's funny.
Huh.
Hmm.
Weird.
That is
Turns out you just need to get older, and she need to get older for him to be with her.
There you go. Then they make Thor.
I did like Boone. His character was obviously the black guy who dies, but he was a badass. He had like the sword. He like got shot and was like, "Oh, you're gonna die!" Like he pulled out a sword and like stabbed the guy.
Right.
Yeah, he was cool.
And then he had the grenade and blew up those guys. So he was pretty cool.
For sure.
Boone was pretty cool.
I liked him too.
I thought it was very interesting that like a rich person, like I guess I wanted to know what was the goal of being rich in this world. I mean, you're rich, yeah, but the world sucks. Like, it doesn't even seem like it's great for, like, rich people.
Yeah, but the rich area was better. Like, it wasn't... It was clean. People weren't shooting guns in the street. Well,
That's
I guess
true.
until everyone else showed up.
Yeah,
but.
it did seem better. But it did seem like it was... Even that world was on the brink of, like, becoming what the rest of the world
Right.
was.
Yeah,
It's,
for sure.
It's not like... You know what? It
sustainable.
had very much the RoboCop vibes. Not in a good way, but, like,
Right.
in the RoboCop vibes. It also kind of reminded me... For some reason, the final building kind of reminded me of, like... The, like, surge on Fiddler's Green, which... Fiddler's Green is from a couple of George A. Romero mythos. Fiddler's Green is, like, this, like... place in a zombie apocalypse where like they keep zombies out and it's very safe and the rich stay there.
Oh.
And almost every version of Village
It's doomed
Green,
to fail.
it's doomed to fail. Eventually,
Yeah.
zombies get in, all the rich get eaten.
That's
because it's a metaphor.
Basically, every zombie movie uses that kind of trope.
Yeah, it's like The
Yeah.
Walking Dead. Every single safe haven gets overrun by zombies.
Even in, I just saw the new Maze Runner movie, and even that has
like
that
a Village Green type thing.
Yeah, it has this building that's like the secure building where they're trying to cure the zombies, and even that, spoilers, obviously, gets overrun.
Obvious. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone knows because it's the trope that like I would say Romeo really started, which is just like the idea that like
world of shit. This
world
is
of shit. Except there's one place.
Yeah, there's one place, but even that place is only a matter of time because everything else, it's just like a wave of zombies almost is how I picture it. And
well, it's a metaphor.
Eventually they just, like World War Z, that's literally name a zombie movie and there's some sort of
and this movie has mutants
building
in it,
or city or something. Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah.
Did you guys like the ending?
I thought it was hilarious. First of all, the brain swap sequence with like him like screaming and like he's like falling into a green screen and there's like weird shit flying around.
It's very like almost Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, it was hilarious. And then after they're like, "Is he him?" There's this nerd. Like I'm a nerd, so I can say this. He was like, it took 26 seconds and we've done it before, but I don't know. Is it him? Like the prototypical 90s nerd.
Right.
Yeah.
He was just like textbook nerd. It was hilarious.
He's like, we've done it this fast before, but we've also taken longer.
Yeah. There's no way to know.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
And
let's find out together.
Yeah.
And it kind of was, as we were kind of talking about earlier, how Mick Jagger's character kind of teetered between trying to decide whether or not he was like on the good guy's side or the bad guy's side, and then in the end it turns out he was like on their side, I guess. Ultimately.
Yeah, I mean at that point
he
got
helped
paid.
them. Yeah,
you know, and he started kind of developing friendship feelings for Alon. So
I think that phrase, friendship feelings.
Yeah.
Friendship feelings.
Yeah.
Well, because like
You're a solid dude.
I wrote down like before I kind of understood what his character was doing. I was like, why did he let him go? His whole mission is to get him, and he like let him run away. He gave him like 5 minutes or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess they're doing that. And then
Yeah, he's
I want a challenge.
He's a bounty hunter with a soul.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like Angel, vampire with a soul. He's a bounty hunter with a soul.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then I guess an 18 years older Rene Russo and Emilio Estevez from 1992 spend the rest of their lives together, and he pretends to own this company.
Yeah,
pretty much.
So,
Yep.
you know,
Maybe make the city a better place.
maybe.
I absolutely love the credits themes, the end credits song.
What was it?
Well, it's by the Scorpions who do like Rock It Like a Hurricane.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like 80s hair metal guitar solos, like I think it's like hit between the eyes and like guitar solos. I love that kind of
Don't you
stuff.
think it's weird they didn't do a Rolling Stones song?
Yeah.
A little bit, actually. Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Scorpions are like. I mean, they're also like a European rock band. I think they're more metal than like Rolling Stones. They're more like rock and roll. But yeah,
Okay.
like I'm sure Mick Jagger had some either contract thing or like I don't know.
Maybe he was like, no, I don't want to be like Trey Songz, and I don't want to listen to my own music in my own movie. Don't never go full Trey Songz.
Don't go full Trey Songz.
It's like
What
there's
movie is that?
the Texas Chainsaw 3D film, because in that movie, Trey Songz. First of all, Trey Songz in that movie is an idiot. Trey Songz in that movie is in a relationship with Alexander Daddario, but decides to cheat on her with another woman, which makes no sense. You never do that. Who would do that?
Yeah, I know.
What a terrible decision. So that's one. I know I'm spoiling this movie, but trust me,
It's alright.
it's not a big deal.
I don't think we care.
Actually, that's spoiled in the first 5 minutes, so I did not spoil anything significant for the movie. But here is something. This is again not a major spoiler. If you really want to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D. At one point, Trey Songz is in the house, in the mansion, and he is listening to Trey Songz while he plays pool against himself, and he's basically bopping his head to the beat, and it
What
says
is
something
this
to the
movie?
there's something to the equivalent of like, oh, this is a dope song.
Ew.
Never go
Yeah,
full
that's
Trey
gross.
Songz.
That's just as bad as in the second Ocean's movie, Ocean's 12, when they pretend that Julia Roberts is a lookalike of Julia Roberts.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like pretends to be her as the character she's playing, even though she is actually Julia Roberts. It's so weirdly meta that, like, who in their right mind was like, that's a good idea, let's
do it. That's hilarious.
Like, it would be a lot more funnier if she had, like, a celebrity lookalike, and they say, oh, she looks like that person instead, you know, because, like
Keira Knightley and Natalie Portman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Back in the early 2000s.
Right.
That would be funny.
Like, if Natalie Portman...
Or, why wouldn't you just make up a fake famous person, honestly? That would make more sense.
Then you have real Bruce Willis, who's infatuated with real Julia Roberts. What?
That movie is so bad. Okay, I wish there was time travel in there so we could talk about it, but... okay, so I think those are all my notes.
Yeah, that's pretty much
mine.
it.
Yeah.
I had a lot of notes, but I kind of ran through a lot of them, so...
Alright, well, it's a little bit of a short episode, but that's okay. So, final reviews. Hyde, why don't you start?
Okay, as a movie, I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's not horrible. It's watchable. Will I ever watch this movie again? Probably not. But it wasn't like... I wasn't bored, even though I think it's a little long. I wasn't bored. There's some entertaining moments. It's a very, at the time, novel concept, and it's not a horrible concept. It's just not really well executed. It's just kind of there. It's one of those films that's just kind of like there. Nothing laughably awful about it, really, and nothing really like, oh, wow, that was good. So, yeah, 4 out of 10.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 10. I do feel like this movie was a waste of my time, and I definitely don't want to see it again. I didn't feel like there was anything really for me to grab onto. I agree with what we talked about, how Emilia Estevez is kind of boring as an action star, and that definitely could have been someone else who was maybe a little bit more interesting of an actor, I would say, honestly. Like, he has his niche, Mighty Ducks and whatever, family films, as you kind of mentioned, and I don't think, like, these types of action movies really... Not that he didn't do it decent enough, but I think there's other actors who could have been a better choice.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, plus the writing was kind of sloppy. It felt like it needed a couple more rewrites to be...
It needed 4 more writers on it.
Cleaner. It needed to be kind of tightened up a little bit. So yeah, 3.5 for me.
I'm right there with you guys around that point area. I think it helped knowing that How Did This Get Made will be doing it on the next episode, so I was kind of like, I was more interested in it in that sense. But yeah, I agree. The action was kind of mediocre. He wasn't a good action star. Like, he's a good fish out of water character, but he's not a good action star.
Mm-hmm.
He's too innocent faced.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess like that could work, but in this kind of like grimy movie, I don't know. Like, I wasn't intimidated by him, or I didn't feel like he was powerful. He was just like a guy that was running around driving cars.
For sure.
So I'll be with Hyde at a 4 out of 10 because there was entertainment value to it, and I agree. I don't want to see this again, but I'm looking forward to hearing the How Did This Get Made episode on it. So
Yes.
Time travel?
There's not almost any time travel, and like I said, this whole movie could have been done without the time travel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Time travel doesn't even really make sense in the way it's done. I mean, there's a little bit of some thought put behind it. Not really. There's definitely, I will give them this, they don't break the time travel rules. So, there you go. So, because of that, I'll give it a 1.5 out of 10.
Yep.
But it's just, there's nothing really about this time travel. It's barely a time travel movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. 1.5 was where I was at also. So I probably would have given it a 2, but you're right when you kind of mentioned how the time travel is not necessary.
Yeah.
I have to dock points for that, because if it's not really vital to the story, then, you know, it's not really fit. I don't know what the word is. It doesn't really fit into what we try and do with this podcast,
Right.
honestly. Is like, yeah, there's plenty of movies that could add time travel for no purpose, or movies that do have time travel and there isn't a purpose, like this. So, yeah, 1.5. I wish there was a little bit more thought put into it.
Yes.
As you said, there was some, but I wish there was maybe more consequences to actually time traveling other than just, like, the brain dead thing. Like, maybe there's only a certain amount of time that he had, like, maybe when he went to the future, he only had 12 hours until the machine automatically sent him back, or something, that's like ridiculous, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Like more time travel stakes.
A little bit more, more stakes with the time travel, I think would have helped.
I just saw this. I know we're getting to mass, but I
Yeah.
just saw that. They could have had a lot of fun with the brain swap thing. They could have had like someone who's like, oh, like it's the body of Elvis, or like it's like
wow.
the body of like JFK. I mean, that might have been a little disrespectful, but you know what I'm saying? Like they could have really had some fun with the concept. That like you see like all these like specimens, like cameos and stuff, like people. Heck, one's if the assassin is Mick Jagger,
or like what if that's what happened to like Tupac and Biggie or something,
right?
Like stuff like that. That would be so cool.
I mean, the movie's already silly, so just embrace it a little bit more and like, have some fun with the concept.
Or at the very least, talk about it. Like, why wouldn't he want to be someone famous? Like, oh, so and so.
Like
Elvis was a good example. Yeah,
there's a lot of famous people who died before 2009 that I'm sure Anthony Hopkins' character would have wanted.
Yeah,
to be.
and that their deaths are like when they died, where they died, that kind of thing. Especially if they're someone famous. So.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like I'm sure Renee Rousseau's character would have much rather been with an attractive famous person than her dead boyfriend
from 18 years ago.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That is a huge oversight.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of time travel, I'm right there with you guys. I agree. They didn't need to have it, and the fact that it's there is like enough for us to do this on the podcast, and I'm glad we did it because it's a great movie to talk about. Mm-hmm. And we kind of knew that going in that it would be a silly movie. That's what we kind of got kind of excited. But yeah, it didn't have to be there, and space-time coordinates and lasers. That's as far as we get in terms of time travel rules. And yeah, he gets plucked out of his timeline. So there's no real cause and effect really on anything. So yeah, 1.5 for me as well.
Cool. Okay, so Rotten Tomatoes gives this movie a 14%. There is not a consensus because it's an older movie, but yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I do want to see what the people who liked it said, though. There's not really a good
yeah,
review,
no words.
But weak and miscast sci-fi actioner. The likes of Hopkins and Russo are wasted here. I agree. And that's kind of what I had mentioned too, actually, is that we don't really feel that Emilio Estevez was the perfect choice for this role. So there you go.
Yeah, average rating is 4, so we nailed that one too.
Yeah, 4 out of 10. 25% of audiences liked it, so that's not very high. Okay, so our next episode is Hyde's Choice, and what did you pick for us?
I chose we're going back about 10 years, I chose the 1981 film, Time Bandits, from Terry Gilliam, Monty Python's Flying Circus. Terry Gilliam we've done before, 12 Monkeys, so this is his second time travel.
Well, technically it's first, but yeah.
Technically it's first, but second that we've covered.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and good catch on that, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it stars Sean Connery, Shelley Duvall, and John Cleese, amongst other people. The synopsis is: a young boy accidentally joins a band of time-traveling dwarves as they jump from era to era looking for treasure to steal. This is a weird movie. It's really dark, it's really funny, goofy, weird. This is going to be a fun one to talk about.
I'm really interested because I like the Monty Python guys a lot. I love the Holy Grail. I have the whole Flying Circus box set. And so, but I've never seen this, and so I'm interested to kind of see what Terry Gilliam has up his sleeves for a time travel comedy adventure fantasy.
Yeah, I agree. The tagline is all the dreams you've ever had and not just the good ones. That's a good tagline. Yeah, it's kind of a cool poster and stuff too.
Yeah, it's very Monty Python.
I'm very interested to see this movie. I'm either gonna love it or I'm gonna hate it.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen this movie before, and I will agree. You are either going to love or hate this.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're gonna love it, but I'm not sure about me.
Maybe
you might like it, Jen. You might like it. Go with an open mind because you might like it.
I want to like it. I don't want to always hate everything.
Monty Python?
Yeah,
okay.
I've seen some. Okay. I'm not like super crazy about it.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
It's really zany.
Yeah.
So.
Sometimes that humor kind of annoys me, so it also might depend on my mood when I watch it. Right. So we'll see.
Yeah, I know. We'll see for me too.
Listen to our next episode.
Yeah, because I was like more into like Monty Python in college, so I haven't like dipped my toe into that pool in a while. Okay. I still think Holy Grail holds up in my mind.
Oh yeah.
In terms like because that's just a solid comedy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we'll see how I feel about a PG Pythons-esque movie.
This is I should know this is PG before PG-13 was 80s created. PG. So it's PG, but like barely.
Okay. Yeah, 80s PG is a good PG.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we're done, I do have to mention. So we did a poll on Twitter. Okay, and so I want to kind of ask you guys as well. So I posted on Twitter, if you had to pick one person to time travel with, you could go past, present, whatever, it doesn't matter, just one person, who would you pick? And so the options were friend, celebrity, family member, or total stranger. Some people did actually pick total stranger. So like,
yeah, 14%.
Yeah. The winner on Twitter was friend, which makes sense. And second place was family member at 30%. Total stranger was 14%, and celebrity was 13%. So that was fun. So thanks for all of those. But I did want to mention a couple of the answers that we got because they were kind of fun. So did you guys have an answer?
I chose family member.
You chose family member. Okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I chose friend just because, it'd be fun to time travel with a friend. But yeah, celebrity would be fun too because I want to go with Neil deGrasse Tyson. So
yeah, I chose Rachel McAdams because I just feel like she deserves to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, like honestly, if I had to pick, I probably would pick friend.
Yeah, if it was a real life scenario, I'd go with you, Jen, obviously.
Yeah.
I like this answer from Time Travel Suze. Total stranger, obviously. Hashtag decoy, diversion, distraction, scapegoat, food.
Food, that's right. You never know.
Yeah, solid.
Someone else said my husband, and of course I'll have to carry his keys and sonic screwdriver because men don't carry handbags.
Maybe not in Victorian England they might.
Yeah, there you go. Or you could, if you are not married, I'm not saying ditch your husband, but I'm saying if you're not married, maybe you could find someone and then travel with that person, a la Doctor Who.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
or find someone in the past and abandon your whole life in the future and stay in the past, like Kate and Leopold.
There you go. That too. There's so many ways you could do it.
We'll eventually invent the elevator.
But it was, there you go. It was a fun question. It was fun to hear everyone's responses, so thank you for doing that, for those who responded. And if you have any other ones and you didn't get a chance to vote on the poll, feel free to send those to us on Twitter, and we'll maybe respond. Our social media, if you'd like to follow us, we are at Time Travel Trio on Twitter and on Instagram. We are also on Facebook, the Time Travel Show Podcast, if you'd like to follow us there. We post all our episodes. And we are on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher, so if you use one of those, feel free to subscribe to us. If you rate us on iTunes with a written review, we will come up with a time travel story about you, which we love to do, so please send those in. We haven't got one in a while, so would very much appreciate that. Personal, I am at Jen Marlis on Twitter and on Instagram.
I'm at Foreman in Space on those.
I'm at Robinson is High.
And
with that,
we are out of
space-time coordinates.